All right. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you guys are joining from. I am Sana Fatima, and I will be your host and moderator for today's exciting webinar. So, everyone, we are on the episode 2 of Cert365 webinar series, Certifying the Future, how Cert365 unlocking global recognition throughout blockchain. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here. Today, we are going to dive into how blockchain technology, together with Search 365, is transforming the way organizations issue, manage, and verify certification, making them more secure, scalable, and fraud-proof than ever before. Again, I would like to welcome our two incredible speakers, Chintan Dave and Ben Watson. Chintan is a general manager and certification director at AI Search. With over 15 years of experience, Chintan is a renowned blockchain expert, author of 20 plus books, and a passionate educator. He has led the development of numerous SaaS projects. He has trained professionals globally in AI and blockchain. We are honored to have him here and share his expertise with us. Up next, we have Ben, Chief Commercial Officer at AI Search, a seasoned EdTech leader with over 20 plus years of experience driving global learning innovation. Ben has held executive roles at Microsoft, Global Knowledge and Skillsoft, and Skill Level, and now lead global strategy partnership and commercialization at AI Search. All right, guys, before we dive in, just a few housekeeping notes. Today, the session will last approximately 45 minutes with 10-minute Q&A session at the end. Feel free to drop your question in the chat box anytime and we will pick it up during the Q&A session. Also, the recording of this webinar will be shared with you all after the session. One more gift and the bonus point for joining this webinar. All the attendees will get the AI plus foundation course after attending this webinar. All right. So we live in a digital first world, yet credentializing process have often remained stuck in a traditional system, vulnerable to frauds, slow verification, administrative burdens. That's where Search 365 powered by AI Search comes in, leveraging blockchain technology to create tempo-proof, instantly verifiable, and highly scalable digital certification. Okay, guys, let's hear more about experts themselves. I would request Ben to take the floor and kick this session off. Ben, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. What a great introduction. Dave, I guess we're incredible presenters. I mean, this is pretty impressive. Quite the high standard to live up to. So, welcome everyone. We're going to spend, the next hour taking you through some pretty exciting stuff, Search 365, and how it's changing the world of credentialing and digital certificate management. We're going to take you through the highlights of the platform. We have a demo in the middle of the session. Talk is cheap. Let's actually go have a look at it. And then, of course, throughout today's session, if you have questions, please post in the chat, and we'll see if we can answer them. If not, we'll follow up afterwards. So, revolutionizing credentialing with Search 365 and blockchain. Powered by AI Search, secured by blockchain. What does that mean? All right, well, let's go ahead and unpack this a little bit, set the stage up. Dave and I are your co-hosts today, so Dave and I will jump back and forth talking about things as we go through the slides. First off, obviously, one of the biggest use cases of credentialing nowadays is in education, right? And this is no big surprise, but now, thanks to platforms like Search 365, you can actually do credential management, certificate management in a number of different use cases. But let's start with, the typical one in the education industry. Obviously, over the last couple of years, as the education has moved online, as it's become more digital, we're starting to see the rise of credentials, certificates, and badges, and millions of people are now going through and taking their courses, whether it's in person or online, and in the end, they're getting a certificate, right? Some kind of completion side of things. In many cases, maybe a validated outcome, like a certification. Look at those staggering numbers there, right? 75 million badges. Coursera, one of the leading online education ecosystems, 15 million plus enrollments. Everyone's looking to not just get trained, but they're also looking to get skilled, right? And this is kind of the shift towards skill-based hiring. Credentials and skill-based hiring go hand in hand. Why is that? Well, because, unlike traditional ways where maybe you went to university and you got a degree, right? And that piece of paper, literally, that piece of paper was good for, the lifetime of your career. Things change so quickly nowadays that we see the rise of micro learning, the rise towards continuous learning, the rise of skill-based. And as the world changes and the roles changes and all the rest, people now need to go and validate that they have these skills, not just having, a university degree or something like that. Pretty interesting stats, right? I mean, even if you look at LinkedIn, right? Increasingly, when people are updating their profile on LinkedIn, they're updating with the new skills that they've gotten. Well, how do you know they actually got those skills? How do you know, other than Ben saying he's now an expert in data science, how do you know, right? The old way would be, I would hold up my degree from Harvard or something and things like this. So the rise of skills coupled with the rise of skill-based hiring has a lot of people saying they have the skills, but not an easy way to go and prove it and make sure that it's not fake. Dave, what are your thoughts on this? You have 20 books. You're coming from a traditional way of things. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. And that's where the shift is, towards everybody. And like what Ben has rightly mentioned about everyone has the credentials, right? Now the question is which credentials are valid and which credentials are just a named credentials, right? So the shift has been changing that everybody wants to get certified, but how much legit is their certification? That's very important piece when you talk about authenticity of your credentials. And we do not want to name any of the credentials, but you can literally know that many of the platforms just require you to put your name and email ID, and even anyone can take the examination and the credential process behalf of anyone, and then you'll not be able to even identify that the process was rightly done. Rightly so, there isn't any single source of truth which identifies, and that's why the legitimacy are questioned. Even though you're investing a lot of time learning on the credentialing, the actual credentialing legitimacy get questioned, and that's where a blockchain is a most important technology or a solution which really helps. If you see the stats like we have been seeing on the screen, right? LinkedIn job post omitting degrees rose like 36%, right? 1 in 4 employers plan to drop a degree requirements by 2025. With that being said, how these certifications are going to get legitimated or how they are going to get verified, how they are going to have a single source of truth is extremely important. And I and Ben were discussing about the micro credentialing like few days back in a depth that the world is moving towards the micro learning, micro credentials. How this demand is going to meet with the actual legitimacy. That's the most important question. The rise of an AI has also given a falsification. When like anyone can open any certification and put their name on it. If you remember, we are talking about one of the invoice bill the other day, right? What's your thoughts, Ben, on that?
I think you hit the nail on the head, right? I mean, we're talking right now just in the opening around education and how do you prove what you have, right? And how does the employer know that it's not fake, right? And in the end, you go through an educational process, whether it's a course or a degree or a program, and you get essentially a document, right? And in the old days, you'd get a couple of these documents throughout your life. You'd get a degree or maybe some continuing education courses. Where nowadays everyone's taking these short courses, everyone's getting these skills, everyone's getting the micro credentials. Or to no one's surprise, the rise of fraud is increasing, right? And this is what Dave was highlighting, right? The shift from degrees to certificates, the rise of skills, fueling the rise of skill-based hiring, which in turn is helping increase the rise of micro-learning. All these things are good examples of the bigger issue, which is, how do you know the document is real? How do you know the document is not fake or has been changed, right? Education is one use case. So let's go a little bit deeper into this, right? Because this gets into the bigger problem, which is, look, I have these certificates, right? Paper certificates, I don't know, PDFs and stuff like this. When you look at education, right? A lot of fake degrees popping up nowadays. Why? Because there's no easy way to verify it, right? I make up something in Photoshop saying I have a degree from Harvard, right? Is it easy for employers, both future employers and even current employers, to go and validate that? No, I mean, you basically got to go to Harvard, right? You got to phone them up and say, hey, when did Ben Watson graduate and stuff like this? And by the way, I didn't go to Harvard, right? But it's an example of, people making up fake documents, fake degrees, right? Increasingly, because it's easy to do this, right? Again, Photoshop, or easy to say something and things like this, the number of lies being detected on resumes are getting higher and higher, right? And of course, when you write your resume, you always want to write things in the best light and the best way and things like this. But there's a lot of out and out fraud on people's resumes because they're saying they've done things that cannot be easily proved, right? And then even on the back end, right? You get these PDFs if you're lucky enough to get one, right? And then, how do you get it? You get it through an email or something like this. Hey, thanks, Ben, for taking this course. Click here to download your certificate, and it downloads a PDF. Great, one more file that I need to keep track of. But this is actually a pretty important file, right? Because I need to, in this world, continually demonstrate that I am keeping my knowledge up to date, right? That's on kind of the user side, the learner side. But on the flip side, right, employers, right, they struggle to verify education. They struggle to verify your documents, right? Because of that, they rarely check your actual credentials, right? And whether they like it or not, I don't know if 40% would hire exaggerators, right? 40% end up hiring exaggerators because they don't know, right? It's a big problem, right? And again, historically, it has been very hard to issue, fraud-proof, easily verifiable documents. And education is the one that gets the most attention. There's a lot of important documents in the world, whether you're issuing invoices, whether you need to control the paper trail. Increasingly, these documents, though they're becoming digital, right? They're PDFs and stuff like this, they're easily tampered with. So let's go a little bit deeper into this. And again, just staying on this theme of education, because it really highlights a common use case is, PDFs, is now pretty common, right? It's not often I get a paper one anymore. I can print out my PDF. Maybe I get a digital badge, but again, Photoshop to the rescue. I can fake that pretty easily. If you're in an academic institution and you're transferring from one institution to the other, gosh, what do? You end up, sending in a PDF of your transcript and things like this. Great. Well, all of Ben's B's that he got, using the Canadian term, right? All my B's turned into A's, right? Because I just edited my transcript and I sent it in, right? Same thing with job seekers, right? All of a sudden, Ben now magically has done 10 courses, and they're courses on exactly what my employer is looking for, right? Employers don't ask because they can't verify it. If you have all these documents floating around, how do you go and transfer them and convert them? This really kind of leads into, this notion of a digital wallet. My credit cards, all my credit cards now have digital cards that I can store in my wallet, right? I don't often carry physical cards anymore, right? I carry all my cards, my credit cards on my phone, and I tap to pay or, scan and things like this. No easy equivalent until now in the document world. Credit card world, financial world, they're pretty advanced, right? They have the same issues, right? You don't want fake credit cards. You don't want fraudulent transactions to occur. They have digital wallets. Why don't we have that in the education space? Dave, any comments on this very colorful slide?
No, 100%. And that's where, I mean, I do not want to use the direct words, but like Ben, we're talking about, like, credentials are easy to fake nowadays, I mean, it's a very powerful thing, but I would like to say that most certificates are just right now a PDF. Connecting back them to an actual authentic source, and then asking for a verification is extremely slow, and not only slow, but it is manual. So imagine we are in the world and age of an AI and Gen AI, and we're doing manual verification, reaching out to a credentialing body or a verification body. It takes days, a time zone issue, a border related problem, timing, availability, and then you do not even have an acknowledgement when you are going to get the verification. So there is a huge problem in credentials are being faked out. The verification process is being super slow. And then a certificate which is issued in one country, one credentialing body, there is no way to fasten the verification process. And then, even let's say people are losing their certificate, you would need to find an email or a copy which is not even centralized or decentralized. So there are tons of problems. Even though we have matured the ecosystem, things are slow, insecure, and technically not designed for the digital world, as we say then. Yeah.
Gosh, it's kind of a depressing conversation you just had, which is, it's hard to issue these credentials, even though nowadays, you somewhat easier to do PDFs. It's slow to verify. It's not a scalable process, right? Like, just across the entire process, it really is outdated, right? It really needs to be, reimagined, right? It needs to be made more modern because, like you just said, Dave, we live in a digital world, right? And it's a little bit crazy that We live in a digital world. We're increasingly doing things in a digital way, whether it's learning or transferring of documents as files and all the rest. But meanwhile, not easy to issue, not easy to scale, not easy to make it tamper-proof, not easy to validate, right? Well, this is why we created Cert365, right? In recent years, the rise of technologies like blockchain, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in particular, has really enabled a new way of doing this. And this new way of doing it solves the majority of these problems, I would argue all of these problems, from how do you easily issue at scale digital documents that are tamper-proofed, that can be validated or verified, and can be stored in a centralized place. And this is where blockchain comes in, right? Is this ability to, you sometimes hear the phrase store on the blockchain. And what that means is it's a repository independent of everything, replicated throughout the world. So there's no centralized place, but now it's always available to you, right? And this now allows you to, as you move through life, as you move through companies, as you move through careers from an educational point of view, these documents stay with you, right? If you're a company using it for invoice control, right? You don't want your invoices to be tampered with. You want to verify that this is a legit invoice. Those documents can stay with the company under the company's control, right? Because they're all stored on that blockchain. So what does it actually do, right? It enables all this in an easy way. And I think this really comes down to the value of our solution is it's easy to do, anyone can do it, and it's highly cost effective, right? It used to be you would do this kind of a solution for really important documents, right? Like if I get a degree nowadays, right, and I spend 4 years getting my degree, then darn it, I want something that is a digital, portable, verifiable, tamper-proof. Yes, right? Now this solution enables you to do this in a whole bunch of different use cases. We live in a world of documents. Unfortunately, those documents are usually viewed as files, right? And we're shipping around these digital files all over the place, and you lose control of them. You actually lose the file. You can't verify the integrity and all the rest. It's been getting better out there, but it's been expensive to do, right? Not easy to do, and not cost effective to do. So here, bulk uploads, easy to issue all at once, easy to use templates, easy process, multiple ways of verifying those documents and sharing those documents as well. So let's go in and look a little bit deeper into this. So Dave, I'm going to hand things over to you. Why don't you take us through this slide, just kind of on how that flow works?
Absolutely. So like Ben has mentioned, we're locking out information on the blockchain so no one can tap in. And we have really got a couple of questions which really helps you to understand why we need Cert365. What's the need of an R? How does it? So if you see, where is a learner information, we can have it through multiple options. So using the system in the easiest way possible is what we're trying to do here. So let's say you are a company or an individual who is going to use the Cert365 for a multiple use cases. You have a user interface using which you can literally issue the digital certificate, passes, documents, verifiable on the blockchain. That's what the easiest route is. Let's say you want to integrate it with your current system, which is an ERP, CRM, or any system which you feel can have an open APIs or which you feel can have a connectors, we are going to easily be able to connect with them. And then what we do is the entire information that we are providing through this UI or a user interface or through an API, we are converting this into a hash value of a blockchain. That means it goes on the blockchain network where thousands of computers are storing this information. Now imagine the information which you're storing on the thousands of computers is being securely stored with a cryptographic hash. That means a technology which cannot be reversed. And then we store that information in the Polygon network, which is the most cost effective and the secure blockchain. One of them, I would say. We are on the multi-chain, but right now we have started for you guys with the Polygon. So we store it there. And then you get an email or an SMS link, and even you get your wallet as well. Using the mobile wallet, you can literally save your document there. So there isn't any chance of losing that digital documentation. And then anyone who wants to technically review it or verify it, they'll be able to get it through the QR code, or they can literally do it from the verification portal as well. We have a bot, and Ben loves the bots. We have the bot. That bot can also give you the information about if you want to verify it. So we are making it so simple, whether it is a school, college, university, an event company, a marketing body, anyone who wants to use the credentialing or the documentation on the Cert365, the easiest route is what we are trying to provide. And just to make it so simple, as we move to the next slide, Ben, we will going to have our demo team. Shivam is going to brief that. But this is the most important part, right? We are providing the seamless experience via two different routes, whether you want to do it through an user interface or you want to have it through an API integration. So both the options are available to a scalable route. And we're getting lots of questions through chat and a Q&A section. We're going to address that, which is on those same line itself. But yeah, I think without further ado and give you the glimpse of this entire process, Ben, do you want to kick off, and then maybe Shivam can share the screen and quickly walk through?
Yeah, I mean, let me, like Dave was saying, right? It's tamper-proof, real-time verification. I think the key thing is Dave was saying, easy to use, easy to integrate as well, right? Across the whole process. It is, many do this today, right? It's easy to go and create a document today to do the PDF, but like Dave was saying, don't worry about the technical thing on the back end, right? It's stored on the blockchain. My new favorite word, Dave, is immutable, right? It can't be changed. It's fraud proof, right? The person that issues it locks it, right? And then it's stored on the blockchain. So now it's portable, right? Yes, you get a digital badge or a digital certificate, of course, but you also get this stored in your wallet, right? And again, these things are easily verified, right? And this is the problems we're trying to solve, right? How do I do this at scale? Make it easy to issue, right? How do I make it fraud proof, right? How do I make it immutable? My new word, right? You store it on the blockchain. How do I make it portable? It's also available on the wallet. The wallet goes with you. It's a digital wallet. And then how do we make it easy to verify and validate it? QR codes, URL, bots, APIs, lots of different ways. Now, with that said, right, it's always easy to say these things, Dave. So let's go and do a demo. So how do you want me to stop sharing? Is that the easiest way? And then
Absolutely, Ben. Shivam, if
Sure.
our demo team is going to quickly walk you through, Shivam, over to you. If you can quickly walk us through.
a live
Absolutely.
demo. Here we go.
All right, everyone. Do let me know once my screen is visible to everyone.
Yeah, we're reading your email there for a moment, but now we see your screen. So
Absolutely. All
your
right.
Amazon
Perfect.
order was delivered, just to let you know. So
Perfect. So basically, we have a two-factor authentication implemented. So whenever you want to log in into the system, you'll have to mention an OTP, which would be shared to the registered email address. So from an application point of view, it is totally secured for an end user or an entity to access the entire platform. Now, if I talk about the dashboard and the main modules, so mainly there are four main modules in the Cert365, that is the dashboard, designer, issuer, and management. So I'll walk you through each and every one of them. So we'll start with the dashboard. So dashboard will give you an overview of all the action insights which are associated from your account. So let's say the total number of credentials that you've issued. Now, whenever you issue any type of credentials, there are chances of human errors. So our platform does have the ability to revoke a specific credential as well. So the total number of revoked certification would be there, the reactivated. So let's say a human error has occurred to revoke a certificate. So you will be able to reactivate that certificate or credential as well. And the total number of reissued. So let's say you've extended the expiration date of a specific credential. So that ability is also there in the platform. Now, I'll showcase the designer platform. So designer, we are basically replicating Canva-like functionality wherein any end user will have the ability to access our predefined templates, as well as they will have the ability to upload their own, or they'll have the ability to create the certification or the credential templates as well. So quickly, to save time, I'll just select a specific sample template that we have prepared. So let's say I select this. You can change your logo, your text, the QR code. Everything can be customized. You'll be able to add in images. You'll be able to add shapes, backgrounds, badges, designer QR codes, and attributes. So attributes are basically the data points where those data points would be dynamic. So let's say an institution or any sort of organization who is issuing credentials for thousands of people, they're not going to individually issue thousands of certifications, right? They would have an option to upload those certification in batches. So for that, we have this attributes option wherein you can create your own customized attributes, as well as you'll be able to utilize the basic attributes that we've mentioned here. So let us just move on and save this design. I'll just mention the document name. I just mentioned my name. All right, let's just save this design. Similarly, you will have the ability to save badges as well. So if I go on the listing page of the designer, basically you'll be able to find the latest design that we've created. Similarly, if you want to create any specific badges, you will have the ability to do that as well. And that would be saved in your listing page. The next important part is the issuance, right? So issuance is the module wherein you will be able to issue certifications or credentials from this platform, right? As you can see, the issued section will have all the certifications that I've issued till date. And from the created option, you will have the ability to add a credential. So how we are treating, so let's say if a school wants to issue 50 certifications of participation for a specific webinar, let's say for example, then the specific institution will be able to name that specific project. So we define it as a project. You can define it whatever suits the need of that specific company. So test webinar is what I would name this project as. I will select the template that I've created. So we've created this template that is test Shivam 1233. So based on the selection of the template, the entire template that you've designed in the designer will be accessible to you, and it will be displayed that how that specific template looks like, right? Then we'll click on the next button, right? And we will have an option to add in the recipients, right? So you will have two options. You will have the ability to, upload the spreadsheet for bulk uploads. And let's say you want to add in recipients manually, you'll be able to do that as well. So I'll quickly add the 4 attributes that we are utilizing. So it is the recipient's name, the recipient's ID, the issue date, and the certification name. So let's say webinar test is what we do. We select the issue date, right? The recipient ID, that is AI Certs MS4, and the recipient's name. Let's say this time it is this, right? So let's just save this, preview it before we issue the entire certification. So quickly click on the preview button. So it will just show us how the certifications looks like. Okay, it seems good for us. Then we'll click on the issue certification and the entire certification would be issued. Similarly, just imagine you are, adding invoices or any government documents that you want to be issued in the blockchain. So you will have those options as well from the designer, and you will be able to issue the certifications from the issuance section. Right. So as you can see, this is the latest certificate that we issue. So let's just quickly select the recipient ID, right? And we have this universal verifier wherein any individual who wants to confirm the validity of that specific credential will have the access to do so. So they just have to scan the QR code in the certification, or they would have to have the credential number. So once I click on the submit button, basically you'll get an option that this specific certifications is valid and verified. You will have the access to the entire transaction on the blockchain as well. You can treat it as a receipt whenever an end user is comparing. And other than that, we have our own verification bot as well. So you will be able to do the same thing. So let's say they don't want to scan the QR code. You just remember the certification number. You just paste it here, you submit it. So basically based on the certification number, it calls our database, it confirms if it's valid or not, and it'll show you the information that this specific information certification is valid. It belongs to this specific individual. You will have the verify link, the blockchain transaction link as well for the end user to confirm. And then comes the management tab, which is very important. So let's say an organization is accessing our platform. So let's say Microsoft, for example. So Microsoft won't be, won't be one individual who would be issuing certifications from this platform. It would be multiple individuals from multiple teams. So what you will be able to do is you will be able to create roles in this platform itself. So let's say if I create a specific role and assign specific modules to that specific role. So let's say if I create a role called test role, and I only want that specific role to access the dashboard and the designer. Right. So let's say a graphic team accessing this platform should only have access to the designer module so they can create templates for the other team to issue certification. So similarly, you can create multiple roles. You can add in multiple users in this platform, assign specific role to them so that they can access this platform with limited functionality. Then without wasting time, I'll quickly go to the settings part wherein we have default blockchain as Polygon, but as Dave mentioned earlier, we are we have multiple blockchain options, that is private, public, and additionally, you would have the ability to make a specific designed QR code as the default one. So this was the overview of the platform. We can definitely deep dive further, but I'll just quickly move this call to Dave.
Thank you so much, Shivam. Ben, you want to share the screen and maybe we want to take it over again? We do not.
I don't know. I want to check his
Yes.
email out again. That was pretty cool. But kudos on doing a live demo, right? And it's always interesting, just doing live demos. And equally as important is the ease of what he went through, right? And I think sometimes we forget that what we just showed is not easy to do in this world, right? So Dave, can you see my slide? I think I shared the slide deck again.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
see the slide.
Yeah, so quickly, right? We got about 20 minutes left. So we're gonna go in. I want to talk about some big users we have of this and all the rest. But I always like when Shivam goes through and does his demo because the platform team is always making nice little tweaks and enhancements, right? So I was making notes myself because I always learn something every time. But I wanted to call out some things I found interesting in the demo. One is, look, it's issuing the certificate, the credential. You can upload it, you can manually type it in. There's APIs and stuff. But I like the fact you can revoke it as well, right? And if I'm an entity, right, whether it's an academic institution or a company or something like this, I want to be able to have control over the things that I issue, right? So this ability to revoke things is really interesting because one of the things he showed near the end was when he went and he typed in the certificate number, or we could have scanned the QR code. It said verified and valid, right? Not only is it real, right, but it's valid. It's not been revoked, and this is good, right? Because he had briefly mentioned, but I want to call it out. Maybe you make a mistake, or maybe something happened, or you need to, revoke it. You need to undo it. I really like that. I love the fact that there's templates as well, right? This is about making it easy for people to use this in different use cases, right? So webinars, documents, the key thing is you can have, your corporate branding, your institutional branding, and just use it for your webinars, for your invoices, for your courses, for anything where you need to issue a digital document that needs to be, again, verified and validated and tamper-proof in the end. The other thing I liked, and we went through it quickly in this demo, right, is not only can you issue a certificate, you also can issue a badge, right, which is pretty cool, right? So you have different things. You can get a certificate, you can get a badge, right? I wrote a little bit deeper in that. The last thing, Dave, that I liked was this is an enterprise grade solution, right? And what do I mean by that? You can go and create and support different users and roles and departments, okay? And why is this important? Well, the marketing team does the webinars, right? The training and certification team does the certificates related to courses. Finance handles the invoices, right? Create different roles, different departments, and now you have a standardized approach for all these different use cases, all centrally controlled, right? Enterprise grade, enterprise wide. Guys, if we need to issue a secure, important document, right, we now have a standardized way of doing it. All right. So I kind of went through this already. What makes it unique? Well, scale, ease of use, cost effective, right? Analytics and reporting, the learner experience, everything hidden away on the blockchain, right? You don't have to deal with the technical complexity of blockchain and all the rest. It's simply magically stored on it, right? Any person who has access and the ability to issue certificates through this platform, they're focusing more on what do I want that document to look like? They don't need to worry about, well, how do I make sure it's secure? How do I make sure they can verify it? The platform handles this, right? Let's not make this hard to do. Let's make it scalable. All right, Dave, I'm going to hand things over to you. You can cover some. I can cover some. If you want to be greedy, you can cover all of them. But let's talk about some examples.
Absolutely. So, like what Ben has mentioned, this solution is designed for the scalability, and we want to make sure that it meets the global standard of technology. The most important part is that there are standards out there for this badges and credentialing system. We are complying all the standards so that you are using the system across. It's super simple for you. We have companies who are already using it, like how Bell has already mentioned. We have Fortune 500 companies already using the Cert365 with the automated integration. One of the renowned certification body, one of the top 10 industry of a training company, we have the clients who are using it. Now, why they're using it? Because they want to use verifiable skills instantly. That means, imagine you have right after this call, you all are going to get an email from Cert365 of your participation certification, which we have an integration with a Zoom. So imagine how instantly the entire process is being done so that you understand that it's a global recognition, and also we're making it super simple. So if you can go to the next slide, Ben. The most important part for all of you is not only the data but also the branding as well. So we make sure that we sit on top of your existing solution, keep it so simple. We are providing the blockchain security, but we want to make sure that it is so intuitive to what you are using. So we are making sure that you can have your own QR code dynamically done. So you can put your own logo on top of the QR code, whether you are a company, university, a marketing firm, a government body, right? You can put your credentials and the logos on top of the QR code. We can have a custom branding done, and then you have a dashboard so you verify everything live, right? So it gives you the information and the integrity that how you're going to utilize the system, right? So it's not about the securing the system, it's also about making it so simple. So you have everything from starting from setting up a few clicks trial account to making it scalable as an enterprise grade solution, right? We have thousands of credentials being issued on a daily basis with Cert365. And when you do that, you want to make sure that it is tamper proof, it is verifiable live, and then we do not touch your data. That means your information stays with you. We are complying that you're passing only the information which requires for a credentialing platform. So like Ben has already mentioned, you have complete control of your data. You're blockchain secure, you're super simple, you have your brandings done for you. So imagine everything is taken care in just few clicks. That's what the Cert365 and we're trying to provide. Ben, if you can help move to the next slide.
I can. I just want to jump in and highlight.
Absolutely.
I love the fact that you can customize the QR code, right? I don't know if you guys saw it, but you can actually put like your company's logo in the QR code. You can change the color of the QR code and stuff. These small things actually make a big difference because someone's receiving a document from you that's important, not just to the entity issuing it, but to the receiver as well, right? So all these touches around making it a branded experience, a customized experience versus just another black and white, PDF document with a little logo slapped on it. I love the fact that we describe the designer module in the platform as like Canva, right? A really easy way to do these things. All right, Dave, I went to the next slide.
Absolutely. And like we are repeating again and again, we want to make sure that this piece is being understood. And why we want to do a fraudulent proofing is that you want to implement the credentials for your users or your audience, which is on the blockchain, but it is so simple to use as well. So we are providing the blockchain security, which is a fraud proof. We have a proprietary algorithm which we have built for you guys to make sure that the entire process is transparent, but it's highly immutable as well. And then if you can move to the next slide, as Shivam was showing on the demo as well, we have a real-time verifications, we have a dynamic QR code. So you have a dynamic QR code. That means you want to have a play the way you want to have it, right? And it's not only for the certifications, it is also for the badges, right? So imagine you have a term called, we were using the Canva like, because Canva is so simple. You have a Canva within your certification documentation issuance system. You literally implement the badge you want and then have it up and running in few seconds. The
Nice.
purpose of showing the live demo was that it is so childlike easy for you to use. And what we are
Childlike.
doing.
Childlike easy. Yes, my 15-year-old son could do this if I gave him the permissions. I'm going to run through the next couple of slides because I actually put
Absolutely,
slides in here just in case the demo, didn't work. But of course, it worked perfectly. But this is it. This is how you create the credential. If you guys recall, this is how you validate it, right? Once you validate it on the right-hand side, this is what you see. So easy to use. And this is important because we don't want to have, special people doing these things, right? If you're doing a webinar, if you need to issue an invoice or something like this, we don't need them to be technical experts, right? They have their jobs to do. Let's make it easy to issue these credentials. Here's some examples of, you can just make it look any way that you want, right? And then we showed you even just at a high level, just dashboard and analytics and issued and reissued and reactivated and revoked. Complete control of your certificates, right? You can pull them back in, you can change them, you can reissue them, right? And again, like Dave was saying, a lot of this stuff is making sure that there's a life cycle around this. This is not a PDF that you're attaching as a file to an email to a person. This is literally a living document that you have control over as the issuer, and the person on the receiving end can't change it. But if they share that with others, an employer, or they put it on their resume, or they make it visible somehow, third parties can go and verify and validate that this is a true document. And I love that functionality. This is where I was saying about Canva, right? Look, I mean, you can just make these things look any way you want. Shapes, graphics, logos, colors, right? You can make that QR code on the right-hand side any way that you want. You can create badges as well. Certificate management, right? Yeah, these are good, solid features and functionality, and just look how easy it is to use, right? Ease of use, scalable, enterprise grade, cost-effective way of doing it. Now, we got about 6 minutes left, and I actually like this part of the presentation, Dave, because it's not just about education, right? There's many industries and use cases where having secured, tamper-proof, easily verified documents becomes more important. Why can't we do this for all the important documents in our lives, right? Education. Yeah, we started off this webinar, with the importance of having these credible, secure, fraud-proof, verifiable documents, because we can't just say to a person, yeah, I did this course, right? Increasingly, it's important. Same thing in healthcare. Oh my gosh, if it's more important in healthcare, right? You really want to make sure that document that you're issuing, the document that you're receiving, is valid, verifiable, and tamper-proof. Same thing on corporates. It's a really interesting point. Increasingly in today's world, as we move into a digital first environment, right? Historically, that's been files, right? Paperwork turned into files, right? Like a very poor version of digital stuff. Nowadays, especially in companies, you got to do audits all the time. It's not just audits of your financial records. They're now saying we need to audit our HR records. We need to audit people's compliance around things like training and stuff like this. This makes it easy to do audits. And of course, if you're a government, everything the government does is an official transaction, right? And you want to make sure that those transactions, whether it's getting a business license or you're getting an official document, you want to make sure that those things cannot be tampered with. All right, Dave, I will hand this over to you so people don't get bored. We got about a couple more minutes left.
Absolutely.
Take us home.
And I think what we can do is we can send out the deck, and I think we have covered everything for you guys. We just want to make sure that we touch some of the questions as well, that we have it in Q&A section. Sana, you want to pull out quickly the questions, and then let's make sure that I and Ben can at least touch some of these questions, and we want to respect the time for sure.
Yeah. So our Q&A box is buzzing a lot. So let's go ahead with the questions. One important question I have received, is the Cert365 can be used by smaller companies and organization, or this is specifically designed for the bigger organization?
One-man shops all the way up to thousands of people issuing credentials inside a multinational company, designed for any number of those things. In fact, I would actually argue for the smaller organizations, this is now finally a cost-effective, easy-to-use solution, right? No longer is it limited to the big companies who have the big budgets to do these things. You could be a one-man shop, a one-person shop, right? And be able to easily issue these kind of digital, verifiable, tamper-proof certificates. Great question. Open to everyone.
Another question we have received is Cert365 is a mobile-friendly software. Can we use it on mobile? To just explore it out. So can we use it on mobile?
Dave, that's for you.
Absolutely. So we have a wallet. Absolutely, you can use it through mobile. So we would preferably suggest that you use the issuance platform on the desktop, so you can assign the certifications and everything easily. But absolutely, it's a responsive platform. You can use it through mobile. But we do have a mobile app, which is a wallet. That wallet basically stores your credentials. And while you will get this certification issued after this call, you will get over an email. You can literally download our app and save it in the wallet. So all the upcoming future sessions from AI Certs and Cert365, you have a wallet to save all the verifiable creds as well. So to answer your question, yes, we do.
All right. So I think we can take one more question. Still, we have a lot more question in our bucket list. All right, let's take one more question. What happens if someone loses their certificate? Can they get it again? If they lose their certificate? But I think with Cert365, there is no chance of losing certificate. But I think still they can answer the question.
Absolutely, we do, and you can literally, when you can request, and we have a bot. You can request to a bot as well, and you can request to an issuer body as well. But if you're using your digital certificate, we can reissue it for you as well. And there is a standard SOP, standard operating procedure for it, but that's all real time. Absolutely, we can do it.
All right. So
All
yeah,
right.
this is it for our questions. And thank you, Chintan and Ben, for your insightful session. And thank you all for participating. I think I'm interrupting Ben. Ben wants to add on something. So yeah, Ben, you can go ahead.
No, that was it. I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us. No, it's all
Yeah,
good.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. All the best. Thank you. Take care.
All the best, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.